The internet lady says we're recording in progress. So Unai, tell me, you're coming back from having hosted this thing and made use of some liberating structures in your event. How did it go, man?
It went well. I really enjoyed the experience. It was my first time facilitating. I had been facilitating open spaces, but this was the first time facilitating with some other liberating instructors.
Great.
And yeah, I was surprised. Like, sometimes when we were in the middle of some structure, I was thinking, oh, like, are people following properly? Is this working? And then I was coming like to close to some people and asking them, oh, how is it going? And they were telling me, oh, I'm doing this, that, and it all made sense. Like things were flowing properly, so it was very nice. Then I don't know, like if people are still like the learning, no, because people didn't know about it. So I don't know if they learned and they are still using them or try to use them. But I think like at least a few people got the concept and so
awesome.
like how they can be used.
Cool. Well, let's get Sherry into the space, and I want to expand my inquiry in with you, if that's all right. We can for sure make this time and space valuable.
Oh.
Let me get away from this building and get some nice background, since there's so much sky around here. Hey, Sherry, are you here? All right. Well, Unai was just telling us about this event that he hosted a few weeks back where he made use of liberating structures. I'm thinking about what structure can help organize this conversation, and what comes to mind to sort of debrief the experience. So he said that you made use of some structures and it felt like everything sort of came together. What structures did you guys end up using that went into your session design?
A number of them, like 1, 2, 4, all, like many times. What, no what, so what, like also a couple of times. Like two main ones were Fishbowl and the celebrity interview. And then on the second day, an Ecocyle, which was pretty nice.
Oh, wow.
And actually, I also then to end, we tried one of your suggestions. I watched a video, which was, I don't know how you called it, like these tiny monsters. Yeah.
Tiny monsters. Yeah, great.
We tried that also. And just.
Cool. So a whole bunch, it sounds like. And maybe zooming back a little bit more as well. So can you remind for everybody in the internet land and me as well, what was the intention of your session, your event?
Yeah, so it was we got invited by another organization to facilitate this workshop for a number of local NGOs in Tanzania, and the goal was it was called linking and learning about participatory approach. So all these NGOs are working with communities. So the goal is, how do we make our work more participatory, right? Like, so we are not working for the people or deciding for them, but right? It's like we're working together.
How an extraordinarily meta event, right? So you brought together a bunch of NGOs and different organizations to host a participatory session about how you guys could all make your work more participatory.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy meta, man. Awesome. And you used a whole bunch of 1, 2, 4 alls. I heard an Ecocyle in there, some what, so what, now what's, as well as tiny monsters, which I'm curious about that one, especially since that tiny monsters is sort of one of these liberating structures that's in development. NGO is non-governmental organization. So what you can think about, maybe Unai, what kind of, can you give some background in terms of NGOs and where these guys came from?
I mean, they came from different regions in Tanzania. I would say from everywhere, and also they were working on different areas. Like Some of them were working with women, some of them with children, some of them with environmental issues. Like, yeah, there were many different NGOs.
Is there one organization that maybe loomed a little large that you might be able to give us a specific example and maybe shout out?
What do you mean? Sorry?
Can you give us an example of, can you give us the name of one of these NGOs that might sort of stand as a cognitive representative that can give us an example of the type of group?
Well, I know like some, the Foundation for Civil Society is one of them, they were kind of co-organizers, but it was nice because during the Fishbowl, they were the ones sharing their experience.
So the Foundation for Civil Society was one of the co-organizers in this NGO space. Cool. So tell me more about Tiny Monsters. How did that one work out? Was that in a big session with everyone, or sort of one of these breakout sessions?
I know it was with everyone, and it was at the end like one of the last things that we did, and yeah, that's also where I was a bit like, oh, is this working? Are they following it? Because actually I had not experienced it myself. I only watched your video once, well, not more than once, while I was getting ready for it. And well, actually, I stole a lot of your slides. I hope it's okay.
Great.
And yeah, that's when I was thinking, oh, like, is this working? So, but then I was asking a guy, oh, like, so I don't exactly remember, right? But tell me an example of when it is like that you are behaving in the opposite direction, like of what your goals are. And I was expecting like any type of maybe random answer from the guy. Maybe he was not like following it properly, but he said, yeah, like I spend my money like in a way that I should not. So I said, okay, yes, that makes sense, because actually, yes, his goal was, I don't remember exactly what, but something about the business or whatever. So yeah, if you are spending your money not well, then you are acting against your explicit goal. So that was nice.
It looks like Sherry's got a question in the chat about Tiny Monsters. So could you unpack how that structure goes? I know we're sort of putting you on the spot, man.
Yes, I don't remember exactly, but all the steps now. I know like the goal is that we realize that we have some explicit goals, or that we say, oh, we want to do this, no, achieve this, or we want to be like this or behave like this. But then at the same time, inside each of us, like we have these tiny monsters, which are like, are also part of ourselves, but they move us in the opposite direction. So it's a very nice exercise where you make explicit your explicit goals, and then it helps also to realize what your implicit goals are, right? These tiny monsters that are pushing you in the opposite direction. Yeah, it uses 9 whys, it uses trees, it uses I don't remember, but the number of them. There is a very nice video about Jeremy there on YouTube.
Oh, wait a minute. So you did more than just Tiny Monsters. It sounds like you did that whole string about
exactly.
Okay. Oh shit, that's awesome. You did the immunity to change. Oh, fucking sweet.
Yeah, because I didn't know. I actually didn't know how the whole structure was called. I thought everything is called Tiny Monsters.
Oh, this is awesome. So the first step in that structure, the drawing of the creatures, is I'm picking up my son from the after school program today, so he's hanging out here with me. So the first step of the structure is Tiny Monsters, and basically it invites you to draw a few shapes, and then to embellish them and make them into these little monstrous creatures, and then to like Unai was saying, to add the behavior or the like. Yes, he's hold on for just a minute. all right, I guess we're gonna move to embellish them with the like demotivating and like negative judgments that we have about ourselves. And so, okay, I guess Unai, can you maybe dig up that YouTube video and toss it in the chat so Sherry can
Yeah, I
get
will. I
a
will.
little bit more context? But it's a pretty in-depth string. So that goes tiny monsters into 9Ys, into Triz, into 9Ys, and then I don't know. I've done it. The last time I did it, I ended on 15% solutions. Sort of wrapping
we
up.
added that too.
Great, awesome! Wow, that's incredible. Sweet, Unai. Cool. And so, and you said that sort of ended up. That was a string that you used towards the end of the event.
Yeah, I mean the bad thing is that I left after that. Right after that, so I left even the place, so I don't really know like how people felt about it, or I didn't have the chance. Like we were always doing debriefing after that, but I left before that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So you guys were able to debrief. Were you guys debriefing the content of the discussions, or were you guys debriefing the structures themselves?
that was interesting because we were doing both, I would say. My intention was to debrief the structure, but sometimes people were debriefing what had been discussed. So in the end, it was kind of a mix. Yeah. So you could hear some people debriefing the structure and some people debriefing the content of the what had happened.
Interesting. So I would say the chances are better than bad then if you guys debriefed to any extent the structure itself that you guys were making use of, that somebody came away with some more tools in their toolkit. So that's incredible. Oh man. And so what? So what are would you say are sort of like the implications, or was the meaning behind this string and how it sort of went down? We have these observations that about the structures that were used and some understanding about the context. So what?
You mean in general or about?
Yeah, about the event. So you use liberating structures to improve to discuss the interaction within these NGOs. What do you think the implications might have been? Or you made mention that you got some sense that things were coming together in ways that seemed positive. Anything else jump out to mind?
Yeah, I think it's like such a no. I don't really know what to say. Like I also feel that it's such a radical thing here. You know, like because usually like things are very hierarchical here in Tanzania, so it kind of changes like how people relate to each other. And actually it was interesting that I don't remember when, but at some point a woman was saying something, because you men are always talking or are always, and this I don't know which structure it was, but it brought up this kind of discussion in the middle of the workshop. So I don't know, and I also have this feeling that it's sometimes difficult to go meta with some people here. So to discuss about what you are doing, for example, like, but I guess it was a nice exercise to do that. Yeah, I don't know if I am answering your question or what.
I think I lost you a little bit there. What I got was that the very notion of participation sort of clashes with what is established culture in Tanzania, that there's often a lot of hierarchy, and that it sounds like some very charged discussions also sort of emerged within the context.
Yes.
And that's when I lost you.
Yeah, well, the second thing I was saying is that I don't know if maybe I am missing something, or I don't understand many things that are going on. But I have this feeling that it is sometimes difficult to go meta, like with people around me here, like to analyze, okay, how are we organizing, right? Like it becomes difficult to talk about those things, as if you just assume that, or they just assume that things are the way they are, and there is not so much analysis about just how we are doing things, for example. So I don't know, maybe it was kind of difficult, or I was happy when I was seeing like comments of people really going meta and saying, okay, this structure is help us this way, and I see that it can help us in this other way in our context. Yeah.
I think I understand. So, well, let me see if I understand. Let's check it. What I get is that in your context, there's a challenge to discuss the sort of process because the content tends to be, I get a sense of like urgent and important. So it's hard for people to sort of do this meta-analysis and zoom out of the process that has landed us into this content. And you were happy seeing that in some places that was possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it looks like Sherry's got a question for us here in the chat around Ecocyle.
Ecocyle. Yeah. So Ecocyle, or should I go, or?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a nice like framework to analyze how, maybe in this case we apply it to organizations. So there were a few people from each organization, so they were working on what's going on in their organization. So you map all the activities. They were mapping all the activities that they do, and then placing them in these different phases of basically of life, right? Like yeah, you had this picture of a seed, like how it starts germinating and then starts growing, and then it's mature and it dies, right? And then this is a cycle. It closes down because when something dies in nature, then it becomes the raw material for the next cycle. And using this framework to analyze the activities of the organization was I think it was very nice, and especially focusing on the what's called the poverty trap, right, and the rigidity trap. So where are we maybe missing some investment, and what are we, or how are we stuck in something, right? Like in a certain procedure, maybe like we are always using that and we are not able to change it because we don't even think that we can change it. So that was also like, I think, very interesting.
Yeah, especially when you talk about this need for metacognition, what I noticed is that like it seems very easy in the structure of the Ecocyle, right? Because we are while we have brainstormed a list of the content of our activities, right? It's really in placing that content into where is it in these sort of development phases that is the sort of metacognitive shift. We're not thinking so much about the details of the content, but how do we organize and where does the content sort of belong in this larger process that is the sort of flow of life. Awesome. And so we've got some really, sounds like a very juicy experience. And so now what is there in terms of maybe your engagement in this context, or just in terms of how do you feel about using these tools in other contexts as well?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, with this group, for example, I was kind of like a couple of times or 3 times we have a WhatsApp group, and I was sending the link to this call a few times, telling them, oh, like if you want to learn more and if you want to maybe put it in practice, that's the very nice place, right? Every Monday, 5 p.m. here in Tanzania, you can join. I don't know if anyone, maybe someone joined already, and I didn't know, maybe. And yeah, I was also thinking of organizing something maybe among ourselves, like some session. Maybe someone could brought like you do here, right? Like it's the same, but maybe for them, like since we already know each other, it can be more comfortable, and also because of the language. Yeah, so that's like the so what. And talking about other contexts, actually, like I will be facilitating another different kind of session this week, and I was thinking of introducing some liberating structures or using them. Yeah.
Awesome. So I would definitely encourage you to like make use of this pattern, wise crowds, that we used as well. You know, since you've in the context of those groups, and I didn't get a sense for how many participants there were, but in the context of that group, like you've already built up a lot of trust in between the different participants. So to use that trust in that setting with you as a trusted face of organization and facilitation, then I would say, yeah, for sure, throw down, host some give and get help sessions. My son needs to go to the toilet, so that might end the participation for this call. But for sure, I would highly encourage you to host some spaces for those guys where they might be able to continue to learn from each other, especially, right? Yeah, if there is any way to continue to support the continuation of your learning journey, for sure, let me know how I can be of service, so we can throw down and bring liberating structures to every corner of the galaxy. Awesome. Unai. Yes, of the galaxy. Here, Isaac, can you use the keys to go upstairs? A galaxy. A galaxy. So we live on the planet Earth, right? And the planet Earth goes around the sun. And there's some other planets. You've heard of those, right? You've heard of Pluto, not a planet, but sorry. And you've heard of, have you heard of Mars and Venus before? No? Well, those are other planets. And then we live in a solar system with lots of other stars. And so a galaxy is another bigger grouping of planets and stars. Galaxies are full of thousands and thousands and thousands of stars. Can you believe that? With hundreds and thousands and millions of planets. Yeah, I know. I want to know that. Yeah.
There they say one stone is called
toilet.
Galaxy Stone.
Yeah, the Galaxy Stone. There we go. We brought Marvel into this. Awesome. Well, Unai, I guess I'm gonna get the hell out of here. Thanks for hanging out again. And,
yes, thank you.
For sure. Keep me posted. Are you on the Liberating Structures Slack channel?
Yeah, I just joined. I was the one asking a few things about the DAO.
Okay, awesome.
That's me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's me. Let's DAO it up. You also sent a message to that platform, right?
Which platform?
You sent what was the name of that platform you sent a link to?
Yes, Giveth.
Yeah, Giveth. That one I'm aware of, but just the other day.
Panfala, I think I sent it today, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, there we go. Let's bleed it next as well. Let's do this DAO shit. Sherry, there is a Slack URL. I'll place it in one of these meetup groups, unless you can source it. Unai, I'm not in front of a much of a keyboard, so if you might be able to share the link to the Slack channel.
Yeah, we'll find it.
Awesome.
Okay. There it is.
Boom. Join the
Yes.
action with the 10,000 other of my closest compatriots in the quest to bring liberation and structure at the same time. Well, thanks for hanging out, Unai. Great to see you
Yes.
again, man. And maybe I'll spam you with a link to my calendar so we can chop it up and think about this LS style if you're interested.
Perfect. Okay.
Awesome, man. Well, safe travels, everybody. Thanks for your time, attention, and energy. Sorry for running late, and see you next time.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.